Hey there. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for taking a look at this. I got a couple more World War II U.S. military pocket knives. I'm really not pursuing this right now, but one I just kind of fell into. And the other one I have been kind of looking for as an upgrade to one I already have, and one came up at a good price, so I went ahead and got that one. But the one I just fell into was this one. It's a U.S. Army Engineer's knife, which is probably the most common type of World War II military pocket knife. Most of them you'll see will be by Camillus because they were by far and large the largest producer of these knives. But this one is by Boker USA. And here's how I fell into it. I thought I was just buying an old Boker. I wanted to get a earlier version of their Scout knife, one a little earlier than this one that I have. And so I was looking for an older one with bone handles and this style of can opener, as opposed to, oops, other end, that style. So when it came, I immediately noticed that it has steel liners, spacers, and bolsters. So in my mind that makes it a World War II U.S. Army Engineer's knife. They didn't allow brass on U.S. pocket knives from 1942 to 44. They were using all the brass for ammunition casings and things like that. Now, I have a document from Camillus that lists the other manufacturers that Camillus knew of the U.S. Army Engineer's knife, and they list Imperial and Ulster. I guess that would be the Kingston partnership, Cattaraugus, Utica, Case, Powell, Queen City, Ariel Cutlery, and Kinfolks Inc. But they don't mention Boker. But since I've bought this, I have found a couple other knives on the internet or listings that are Bokers that are described as U.S. Army Engineers knives, and it just makes sense because Boker USA, made pocket knives like this at that time, and they also were a supplier for military fixed blade knives, the Mark I, the M3. So yeah, maybe a little tougher to find. I think it's always a little tougher to find U.S. Army Engineer knives that are other than Camillus. As you can see, this one doesn't have a escutcheon, metal plate or shield like the Camillus that I have. Most of these Army Engineer knives that you see don't. So it's nice to find one that actually has the escutcheon and the abbreviation for the branch of the armed services, U.S. Army in this case. This one doesn't have that, but it is, again, Boker USA, so I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, steel bolsters, they're lined, bone handles, they're very thin, all steel construction. This example is pretty nice, cleaned up pretty well, it's got good snap. I think one way you can tell the military pocket knives is just by the quality of the tools, especially the can opener. It just really seems like a thin, stamped out affair, a wire cut piece of steel. Here's the blade, and again the tank stamp, Boker USA. All carbon, of course. Has quite a lot of light scratches in it, but it's fairly full and it's sharp. Of course it's sharp because I sharpened it. And a nice full punch. Often they're broken at the end, so it's nice to get a full one. So that's the first one I got, and I just had a interesting thought the other day. So this is a Boker USA, made in Maplewood, New Jersey, I think at that point in time. Could have been in the pocket of a U.S. enlisted person during World War II. And I just recently got this Boker camp knife. And it's possible too, it's pre-World War II or during wartime. It's possible that it could have been in the pocket of a German soldier's pants. It's really not probably that a German soldier would take this, into the field of operations with him, but a knife this nice at the time, but it could have been. So, here you have one company, Boker. Well, actually, two companies, one name, but Boker making knives in Solingen, Germany, before World War II or during World War II. Boker USA making knives in the USA. Both of these could have been, in the pockets of soldiers on the opposing sides during World War II. I mean, it's a possibility. And then the other one that I got recently, put that right here. So I got another TL-29. I wanted one of these with an escutcheon, a plate or shield, and most of them don't have that. I would say probably 1 out of 10 have the shield, and the rest don't. And so I wanted one with the shield, and I got this one. It's a Camillus. I had a nice TL-29. It's a Utica, and there it is. I was going to, once I got this one, maybe sell this one, but when I got them both in hand and started looking at them, I realized how nice this one is. I think I'll hang on to it. Rosewood handles, nickel silver bolsters, and brass spacer and liners. This one is a Camillus, and it has steel bolsters and steel liners. Now the center spacer is still brass because that's also your liner lock, and I'll show you that in a second. But this knife has just got really kind of like good action, and it's real, great stiff half stops, and it's forgot that locked. It's just got pretty good action. It just feels good to handle and operate. This knife, on the other hand, it's a really nice example, but the spring tension on it is just crazy. It's like a real bear trap. There's the screwdriver, wire scraper, stripper, cable puller. I've heard some people describe that as a function of that to put your thumb on, so you can. That's not right. Well, it could be. I mean, I don't know, but I honestly think what that is it's a dished out place to strip cable housing when you don't need a sharp edge. You just need something to grip and pull. Here's your sharp edge. It kind of starts down the side of this blade, and then there's a dished in place here to catch wire cable to strip. These are all have a liner lock, and it's brass. It's just sold kind of like a coin press, and it's the same piece as the spacer, so that's just one big piece of brass comes up in here and it's split, and that was invented by Cattaraugus. These knives do have half stops. You can just hear the snap on this thing. It's just really super stiff. It's a work knife. These guys were going to be using these things hard. They didn't want them closing up on their hands. So we've got the Camillus 4-line tang stamp. And what is that again? Camillus cutlery. I don't remember. Something USA. I'll put it on the screen. So these handles to me look like Cocobolo. Just that more of an open grain, and you can tell that they were red at one time, but it just kind of turned black over time. That's typical of Cocobolo. And again, these are probably rosewood. So most of these knives had the TL-29 just stamped into the handle or carved into the handle. Some were lined with paint, like this one, either white or gold. The escutcheon, or the plate here, bad shield, whatever you want to call it. That was really not part of the military specs of this knife. So not every company did it. Very few companies did it. And the ones that did do it, I think, quit doing it fairly early on because it was just a way to reduce time of production and costs. This is called a, this shape shield is generally categorized with oval shields, but more specifically it's a GIMP shield, G-I-M-P. So any shield that you have that looks like a bow tie or a propeller or a cloud, those are all, they can be referred to as GIMP shields. So yeah, we'll slip that in here. And that's just been a look at a couple of new U.S. military World War II pocket knives I've acquired. I've got a little collection now of about, well, exactly a dozen knives. That's pretty cool because I just started doing this about a year ago. Again, I'm not actively really pursuing this, but every once in a while, looking for other knives, I see something of interest here that pops up and it fits in, so I'll go ahead and get it. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support, and have fun collecting.